Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where professionals in the field inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they love. Today's guest is Heather Belle Murphy, a health, life and love coach, and our topic is what I learned from love. Welcome to the show, Heather, and tell me, what did you learn from love?
Lots of great stuff, Kirsty. I've been in loving relationships for a long time now, including some pretty significant ones. My biggest skill that I've learned, that I think I can say that I've learned, over my past sort of 35 years of actual adulthood, is emotional balance. What I see with clients, and I've actually come from an experience of being somebody who was highly oversensitive at one stage, suffered with, anxiety, depression, those sorts of things. And being emotionally balanced no longer means that I'm on that seesaw emotional roller coaster of being, when I'm up, and everything's great. When I'm down, I'm down. And when I'm down, I would need to do something to get up, to escape that uncomfortable, bumpy feeling. So, for women, that commonly looks like doing things like eating the wrong things, overconsumption of food, having unhealthy relationships with things like TV or alcohol, or even just developing unhealthy relationships with things like, I shouldn't say things, but, we'd say their children, for example, where they're just overly living out a life through someone else. So that sense of being in our beingness and being in balance is a really important thing. The other really important thing is whether we're in a relationship, intimate other, with the person of the opposite sex, or even an intimate relationship with same sex, and even if that is with a sister or another relative, say, for example, someone is most likely to carry the masculine energy in the relationship, and someone is most likely to carry the feminine energy in the relationship. Now, the issue with that is that, especially if it comes to being in a relationship with your significant other, men are going to feel much more comfortable expressing their feelings, or another great expression for it is crashing the boat of their heart on your island and wanting to stay with you if you're really emotionally comfortable. Particularly if you're emotionally comfortable, during bumpy, potentially volatile times. So that's a really important thing.
Could you please explain a little more about masculine and feminine energy for us?
I'd love to, especially as we know that there's a lot of gender and role confusion going on in society at the moment. So clients commonly come to me, and there can be a confusion in their relationship, especially where some girls now may be in a situation where or some women may be in a situation where they're earning more than their partner. Or you might have a same-sex couple where one person is, significantly, obviously, the breadwinner in the household. What I'm finding in relationships now, sometimes in same-sex couples, generally with women, or in heterosexual couples, it's like two people are both trying to wear the pants in the one household, and that doesn't work. So being the masculine, sometimes people mistake carrying the masculine energy in the relationship as being controlling or dominating, and that's not actually where it's at. It's actually more of a protective role. You'll often get one person is more of the protector. Now, in my relationship, it is definitely my partner. He fits that male protector, breadwinner figure particularly well, and I'm definitely much more the nurturer. He's nurturing as well, but of course it's part of that dance that we do. He nurtures me in other ways, but I tend to definitely be the feminine energy, the nurturing, the receiver. I'm definitely the feminine receptor in the relationship.
And have you got any tips for our viewers?
Absolutely. Emotional balance is essential. I call it emotional landscaping with clients and emotional processing. And you know, we're very, very lucky that as women, being in touch with lunar cycle, because we're 60% water, it's a great time to follow the phases of the moon, being in dark moon or being in full moon, when we know that it's time to, so cleaning the house and cleaning out the shoe cupboard and being organised at that time, it's a great time to utilise that energy doing those kinds of things. And then being in full moon, that's more of a doing time. So that's the time when you can, you know, a great time to be more into exercising or to be into making changes and fulfilling change, whether that is changing your direction in your career and having a plan around that, or changing, you know, your eating regimen, for example, upscaling it or whatever, you know, or you know, you might change your physical regimen. How am I going to exercise? How is that going to change? So full moon is a great time, more of a doing energy, compared to dark moon is much more of a time for planning, cleansing.
Well, thank you so much, Heather. That was wonderful. If anyone wants any more information on Heather Belle Murphy or on what she learnt from love, please look up her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with another fantastic guest and a very interesting story.
After the break, lymphologist Sean Connell is talking about ways to improve your immune system, so stay tuned. Welcome back, and next we have Sean Connell back with us, who's a lymphologist, and today he's talking about the immune system. So welcome back, Sean.
Thank you.
And the immune system today, so can you tell us more about that?
Okay, so our immune system is our white blood cells. So our immune system actually starts at our coccyx bone. Our coccyx bone vibrates and that pumps our bone marrow. And then all the bone marrow make the white blood cells, and the white blood cells get sent to our thymus gland right in the middle of the chest to make the T cells, killer T cells, and all the things that will run around and clean up all the viruses and bacteria and the unwanted things in our body that are upsetting our immune system. So a lot of people rub Vicks on their chest and they think it's for the smell, but it's not. It's for the thymus gland, which is your immune system.
Can you tell us a bit more about how the immune system works?
Okay, so when we have inflammation in the body, there's no oxygen. Now the challenge with that is the white blood cells need oxygen to run around and clean up all the cancer, the viruses and the bacteria, the things that aren't supposed to be there. So when we have inflammation in the body, the immune system's not working in that area. So what your cells will actually do is, because there's no oxygen, the cell is technically off because it needs oxygen to work. So what the cell will do is go into spontaneous firing, creating heat. So it'll use heat to try and kill the bacteria, the viruses and the cancer that's not supposed to be there. So this is why your body gets a fever. So every degree that you increase the temperature in your body is doubling your immune system. So it's doubling the white blood cells to get into that area and clean up all the unwanted bacteria, viruses and the germs that are not meant to be there.
We have germs and parasites and things in our bodies all the time, is that correct?
That's right. We have to live in harmony with those. So when they get out of balance, our immune system will just go in there and clean that up. Also, a lot of people don't realise that we have 1 million bugs in us. So a lot of Lyme's disease out there at the moment, people suffering. So when there's lack of oxygen, those bugs wake up. So the oxygen keeps them asleep. So when they wake up, they're hungry, so they want to eat. So they actually start to eat us, and that's where all the challenges come from. So increase that oxygen, that'll put the bugs back to sleep, that'll boost your immune system back up, and everything's back to normal.
So Sean, when you talk about the oxygen and the white cells, how can we increase the oxygen in our body?
Well, the oxygen's coming from the bloodstream, and so when there's inflammation in the body, there's no oxygen in that area. So the only way to remove that inflammation is through the lymphatic system. So we have to remove that inflammation out of the body. Then the oxygen can get to the cells, and then the white blood cells can clean everything up, and our metabolism can turn on, which creates the energy, and this is why health is energy.
And you talked before, I know, about the four different ways of increasing the oxygen. Is that correct?
So yeah, there's 4 ways to activate the lymphatic system. So deep breathing, bouncing, stroking, and energy. So when the lymphatic system's moving, that'll move the inflammation and dead cells, toxins away from the cells, and then more oxygen can get to the cells. So when there's more oxygen around the cells, the white blood cells can work, and they'll just go around and clean up all the cancer, the viruses, the bacteria, the things that aren't supposed to be there.
So Sean, what would your best advice for our viewers to be around the immune system?
Well, we must keep the lymphatic system moving to remove that inflammation out of the body so we can get more oxygen into the cells. So when there's more oxygen there, the white blood cells can go around and clean everything up. Also, our stomach acid is so important. So we need the proper stomach acid so we can have a proper immune system. Also, there's a gene that we work with, the MTHFR gene. So if that's not working properly, which 50% of the population around the world have a dysfunction with this gene. So this gene helps make the T cells and natural killer T cells that help clean up our body as well. Vitamins and very, very important. So vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin D3. We must keep on top of that with good nutrition. So, and also health is energy. So the more energy we have, the more health we have, and then the body can regenerate and work the way it's supposed to. And we have a lot of new technology out there that really, really helps the body to increase that energy and remove that inflammation and allow the body to regenerate and heal itself. So yeah, and there's a lot of professionals out there now specialising in the lymphatic drainage and energy and how the body works and what we can do to make the body more healthy and regenerate and have a better life.
And as you said before, bring better balance.
Balance, yeah, balance.
Thanks so much for that, Sean. And for more information about Sean Connell and the immune system, then please go to his webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au, and we'll go to break and see you back afterwards with another wonderful guest.
Stay tuned, and after the break we have international meditation teacher and coach Daniella D'Amore talking about a balanced life through spiritual growth. Welcome back. We have international meditation teacher and coach Daniella D'Amore, and the topic we'll be discussing is the importance of a balanced lifestyle through spiritual growth. Welcome, Daniella.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Why is spirituality important for a balanced life?
Spirituality is just as vital in our life as it is to understand our physical body. Right? So if we focus on our physical body and don't focus on our spiritual life, then we don't have a greater sense of purpose in our life. Right? I feel that it's important to balance the physical, the emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies in order to align ourselves to perfect health and well-being, and therefore create a much more healthier and happier lifestyle. It's important to balance all 4 bodies, and yet Most people will focus on the physical body or focus on the emotional body and even the mental body, and the spiritual body tends to sort of be left behind. And then, so they may get to a place of healing, but there's still something lacking. Or they may achieve a lot in their life, but they still feel a sense of emptiness. Or they may have the most amazing relationships in their life, but there's something meaningful still missing. Like there's a sense of, okay, what's missing? And to me, what's missing is the spirituality. Whatever that is for you, because spirituality is such a broad term, really. It can mean anything for lots of people. I have friends who go surfing every morning, and they say that's their spirituality, because when they're out on the ocean, they feel one with the sea. That's beautiful. It's kind of like a meditation and spirituality and prayer all at once. Well, that's great, you know, but they're very conscious of that.
Daniella, what's your personal journey in discovering spirituality for a balanced life?
Well, can I say I've had many journeys that really emphasise the importance of spirituality. But as a young girl, starting out in life, and when I became a woman, I had a lot of issues, health issues with my monthly cycle. And we know today it's called endometriosis, but back then it wasn't diagnosed like that. And it was, very uncomfortable, and I was just given medicine to take. Well, in my feeling, my sense was, no, this is not right. This is supposed to be natural. So why am I taking medicine? No. So I seeked out alternative ways to heal myself through this. And so I did go to a naturopath, I went to acupuncturist, and I started meditation. And over the next few years, I just found that it's, I had good months and I had bad months, but there wasn't that consistency anymore of the uncomfortable feeling. And about 7 years later, I was able to have cycles with no pain, because I chose a more spiritual way of dealing with it. But at the same time, I was healing my physical body, sure, but there was a lot of emotional stuff connected to that as well. So in the process of getting that healing through various channels, my emotional body and mental body also started to change. And I became a big advocate for meditation. Meditation became part of my everyday life, and just healthier choices, health and various things that accompany that. And I found that, as I said, about 7 years later, I started to have cycles that were not so painful. And that just improved as I got older and older. And then ultimately, the good thing about that is when I went through menopause as well, it just happened. Like there was no side effects or anything. And I know that that was based on the fact that I took care of myself on a physical, emotional, mental and spiritual level, right? I started to embrace my whole self as a woman, having this human experience. And of course I saw the results of that, in due course. And to make that story come full circle, I lived in the United States for a number of years, and during that time I was very honoured to be able to spend time with Native people there in mostly Arizona, New Mexico and South Dakota. And having spent time with the Native women there, I realised that a lot of them did not have the same issues around cycles, monthly cycles, as Western women do. So I explored that a little bit and asked them, various questions. And what I realized was it's something that's actually celebrated. When a young girl becomes a woman, there's a whole ceremony and it's celebrated, and the whole tribe celebrates. Everybody comes out and celebrates it. So it's something that's really embraced, because now she can create life, right? So these Native women already start their cycle in a celebratory type way. It's not a stressful thing. And then they maintain spirituality throughout their whole life. They do women's circles and various things, women's gathering, but spirituality is very much a part of their culture, all of the tribes. So it's something that is part of their upbringing. What I found was that they just didn't stress about things the way we did, and there was no expectation, if you will, for them to be anything other than the beautiful women that they are, Whereas I feel in our society, women feel they have to step into a different role, you know, to compete with men sometimes. So we neglect our femininity, whereas they embrace their femininity and their feminine power. And it's a beautiful thing. And they all supported each other through that. So what that helped me realize was that what I was feeling as a young girl really had some substance. You know, why was I thinking that? I don't know where that came from. I just knew that it was natural for women to be like this and to find the supportive system. So that was really confirming and very affirming as well, because it affirmed how powerful it is for us to embrace who we are. You know, we as women in the Western world, our own power, our own femininity. And of course for men to embrace their own masculinity, you know, who they are. And we play specific roles in that power. So when we can embrace that, we're much more powerful and our bodies will reflect that, right? But in order to embrace that, there has to be that spiritual side, that meaningful, purposeful, that part of ourselves that we feel is missing. No, it's right here. We've just got to embrace it.
Daniella, that was a great story.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Do you have any advice for our viewers to have a balanced life spiritually?
Well, my advice would be to just listen to their inner self, because that's where our spiritual body resides, somewhere inside of us. Most people will say it's in your heart, but it can be anywhere. It can be in your toe. I don't know where you feel, whatever you feel. But think about how you feel when you see a sunrise or a sunset. There's something magical about that, and we can feel that magic within us. It makes us stop and look at it and go, wow. Or when a rainbow appears, and we all want the rainbow to be magic, you know, magical, and we have a sense of that. Well, that's our spiritual body responding to that. So it's already happening. It's just a matter of making yourself more conscious of how you feel in that moment and knowing that you have those feelings throughout the day and they're important. They're an important element to who you are. And then to seek it out more. So how can you get that feeling more and more? Through what? Through whatever makes you happy, really. Whatever you do that makes you happy, whatever hobby, or maybe there's people, maybe there's places, things that you like to do that makes you feel happy inside, do more of that. That's all. Because that's called loving yourself. And the more and more you love yourself, the more and more spirituality you're living in your life.
Thank you, Daniella. That was such valuable information. If you'd like to know more about Daniella and how to have a more balanced lifestyle through spiritual growth, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And we're going to say bye-bye for now, and we'll see you next week. Stay tuned.
If you'd like to know more about our show, please like our Facebook page and also subscribe to our YouTube channel.